Hi guys, today I thought I would do an update on my anxiety. I mentioned it in a recent video, and a lot of you like those videos and want to kind of hear what my journey has been recently. If you don't know how my anxiety started and all of that, you can check out some of my older anxiety videos. I will have those linked below. As a lot of you guys know, when I went on vacation this past summer, my anxiety hit an all-time high, like all-time high. All of last year, 2017, was pretty crappy for me, anxiety-wise. I kind of shut down. I didn't go places. I just shut down. I stopped doing things out of the house. I stopped leaving the house by myself. All last year I was struggling, and I tried to find someone to help me. It was a very hard process. I have a video talking about the process of finding a therapist, so I will link that below if you want to get all the details on that. And honestly, anyone who has to find a therapist, I feel sorry because I had the hardest time. I think it's great that we're talking about anxiety more on social media and in Hollywood and things like that, but it just sometimes talking isn't enough. Sometimes you do need professional help, and we need to make it easier for people to actually get professional help because it's not easy. And for a long time, when I've suffered with anxiety, I've told myself, it's me, I can control this, and I didn't want to go on medicine. Like, from the first time I went to a doctor for anxiety years ago, I said it from the first day, I do not want medication, I do not want a crutch, I don't want to be dependent on something. And it wasn't even a matter of being addicted to something, but it was more of, I can do this myself, I can control myself. Anxiety is in my head, I'm the one making it happen. And my first therapist actually sort of agreed with me, and I didn't, at the time I thought, yeah, okay, great, she's agreeing with me, but now looking back, I wonder if maybe she should have not pushed, but questioned me more. And not just automatically agreed with me, because anxiety isn't something you can control. In some circumstances, for people who have minor anxiety or people who maybe get anxious in certain situations, like going on stage, giving speeches, things like that, sometimes you can kind of control it. You kind of work through it, and sometimes you can power through and do whatever you were gonna do, but sometimes you can't, and sometimes it's actually a chemical imbalance that's causing your anxiety. And I think that slowly this last year I've learned that sometimes you can't control it. When I first had anxiety, I thought there was something wrong with me, that I was causing it, that in my own head I was convincing myself I had anxiety, I was convincing myself to be scared, but I wasn't. And I learned that more this year, I think maybe because I let my anxiety get so out of hand, to the point where I used to have reasons for being anxious. But this year it got to the point where it was so, I don't know how to describe it, unreasonable, I guess. It was just so ridiculous, the things I was afraid of. Going to the grocery store by myself, being anywhere by myself, really. If I was in the store with a friend or something, I couldn't have them go into a different aisle. Things that are real, what you see on people who live in their house and don't ever come out. It was scaring me to the point where I thought, there is something wrong, I'm not being able to control this. And then it got to the point where, my home used to be my sanctuary. It used to be the place where I always felt okay. I mean, obviously I'd feel anxious at home if I was doing something later, but being home, knowing I'm being at home, I never was anxious. I rarely had panic attacks at home unless it was the night before I had a big event or something like that. And I slowly started getting anxious every day. Every single day I would get severely anxious watching TV, just sitting around the house. I could barely even go to the post office or anything. Even with someone, I got to the point where I was anxious no matter what. I was anxious driving, I was anxious to do anything, really. I would film videos and have panic attacks halfway through. Couldn't even put on a face mask for 2 whole months because it made me feel claustrophobic. It was getting to the point where I was there's no way my brain is doing this. There's no way I'm convincing myself to be anxious in these moments. I was getting so mad and frustrated and annoyed, and it was ruining my life. I had shut down. I had not hung out with people. I just wasn't doing anything, and it was really upsetting. I felt like it was getting me depressed, and I've never been depressed. Along with anxiety, depression and them kind of do go hand in hand in a way, but my whole time of having anxiety, I've never felt like I'm depressed, ever. I've always felt a motivation to power through, to get this to go away, to make anxiety go away so I can live a full life. And I was getting to the point where I didn't want that anymore, where I didn't want to fight. I couldn't deal with it anymore, so I just didn't do anything. I shut down. I used to try to go and do things and power through and make it, but I got to the point where I just didn't want to. I didn't want to get up and do things. I didn't want to go anywhere because I just knew I would feel anxious, and I didn't even want to deal with it. And at that point I realized I need I need help. Like, I need to find a doctor who actually listens and can prescribe me medication, because this is not normal. You know, at one point I thought, okay, I could have a kind of pill, like a Xanax pill, where you don't take it every day, you take it when you need it, you take it when or something specific is making you anxious. And I thought, okay, that should work. But because my anxiety got so bad to the point where every single day I felt anxious, even at home when I wasn't doing anything but normal work stuff, that's not okay. I should not have to take Xanax every day. And Xanax is the type of pill you can get addicted to. So I finally found a doctor, thank God. And thanks to a really, really, really good friend of mine. I don't want to like share her name, but a really good friend of mine recommended someone to me, and since I've been going to her, it's just worked out amazingly. It's someone who's pretty close to my house, so I don't feel super anxious going there. Someone who makes me feel comfortable, who listens. And I think that's something with doctors, no matter if it's a therapist or any kind of doctor. You want to find someone who listens to you, who takes what you say and gets it, doesn't throw it off like, oh no, that's nothing. It's very disappointing from my life, the doctors I've had, from gynecologists to primary care or whatever, people who don't listen. I've been to gynecologists before where I constantly say, I'm in so much severe pain, and they just go, oh, that's normal, like that's nothing, you can't do anything about it. And now I have a doctor who listens, who agrees with me, who actually takes the time to hear what I have to say and acknowledges it and says that it's worth something, that what I'm saying is worth something, and she's considering it and putting it into my treatment plan. And that's how my therapist is, and I am so grateful. Like I said in my last video where I mentioned anxiety, I'm not to the point that I want to be at by any means, but I have made such a stride in such a growth, I guess you could call it. I started taking medicine around the end of September, mid-October, and I had tried one medicine that was not right for me, actually made my anxiety worse. This is a doctor who didn't just tell me, oh, it makes it worse, power through. The amount of anxiety I was getting from one pill was like brutal. So she immediately told me, okay, stop taking it, we'll change things up. And I thought that made me feel so much better. And honestly, as much as the medicine's helping me, having someone listen, a professional who knows anxiety, who knows how to treat it, listen to you and accept, and like not just listen, but hear you, fully hear you and absorb what you're saying, it means a lot. And it really makes you feel like all these feelings you've been having for years, been swallowing down, that have been making you feel miserable and terrified constantly, that they matter, that you weren't making them up, that they weren't just something that you were putting up with. It's something that they're acknowledging, that all those things that you feel are valid. And I cannot tell you how much that means to someone with anxiety. If any of you struggle with the kind of anxiety I have, having someone acknowledge it and say your feelings are valid, what you're feeling is real, and telling you there is a medication and we will work until we sort this out. This doctor is amazing. I'm gonna tear up. She has consistently said, we are going to keep working until we solve this problem for you. And it's just really great to have someone tell you your feelings are valid, because for years I've thought people don't get it. My feelings aren't valid. I have to push this aside. I can't mention it to anyone because people are going to think I'm complaining. People are going to think I'm lazy. And I thought people just kind of wrote it off. And she doesn't. And it's so great to hear a professional who knows what they're talking about say that. You do have a chemical imbalance. The way I explained my anxiety to her, she immediately was nodding yes. Oh, I've heard this a lot before. This is very common. And just knowing that makes you feel so much better. And it's even different than sharing a video online, having people comment like, oh, I've been through this. Having a professional tell you it's a real thing, you have chemical imbalance, you're right, you do need medication. It's so like eye-opening, and just having that first appointment made me feel so much better. Not anxiety-wise, but just knowing that we were gonna make a plan. And so now I'm on medication that helps me. I take it every single day. That helps me tremendously. I started with a small dose and have worked my way up to how much I can handle. Especially, I think after about 2 months is when it really kicked in fully, because around Christmas usually I am very anxious. Whether it comes to shopping, waiting in lines, going to Christmas parties even with my family, taking long drives to go to family parties, all that makes me very anxious, and I can feel it kind of bubbling up. And I think right now the anxiety I'm dealing with is not full on anxiety, not full on panic attacks. It's more of like being so used to having anxiety for so long that I'm expecting it. It's more of like a cause and effect kind of thing. Like, oh, I know I'm doing something that's made me anxious in the past, so my body is just like, okay, we're waiting for you to freak out, but I don't. And I think that's really amazing. So it's kind of like a anticipatory anxiety, I guess you can call it. when it started getting to Christmas time, I went shopping and I waited in line and I didn't feel anxious. I was annoyed because who likes waiting in line, but I didn't feel anxious. I didn't feel like I had to run out of the store. I was claustrophobic. I went to the post office by myself. I went to the pharmacy by myself. I even was in a car accident, if you guys saw that video, and I didn't freak out and have a breakdown. And it was really nice to do that. The first day I went out to 2 places by myself that are like 3 minutes away from my house. I was so proud of myself for doing that, and like that's the kind of steps I have to take. I have to take baby steps. And right now, actually, my car is not working. The battery is dead, so I can't actually go anywhere, which is kind of frustrating because I'm not trying to be like a crazy person, like, oh, I don't have a car. But what's so frustrating is at this point, I feel like I'm good to go out by myself. I'd love to go to the grocery store by myself, but I don't have a car to go and do that. So I don't know if I'm feeling like, oh, I can do it. I'm totally fine to go to the grocery store because I don't have a car, because I know I can't go. I feel like that might have something to do with it. Like, oh, I feel fine because I know I can't go. I'm not sure. I can't explain that until I get my car working. But what I was going to say about Christmas time was we had a family party, just like, you know, family, aunts, cousins, things like that. And normally that would make me very anxious. I would probably, if this was middle of the summer, I probably wouldn't even have went. But I went and I didn't take an emergency pill. For a while, even when I was on my everyday pill, I was taking a pill kind of for panic attacks, for moments where you're out in public and things like that, where you need something because you feel like you're gonna pass out or like you feel claustrophobic. And I haven't taken one of those in probably 2 months. And I'm very proud of myself for that. The fact I went to that party, normally earlier in the day I would take it just in case I had a panic attack there, but I didn't even take it. I went there and I was fine. The next day we went to go and visit my nieces down the shore, which is about an hour-long drive. I haven't been in a car for an hour since the vacation I went on, where I was super anxious the whole time, and all day before we went, I was telling myself I wasn't gonna go because I couldn't handle it. I didn't want to have to take an emergency pill, so I just didn't want to go. And then I told myself, you don't stop, like, don't do that, you know, if you have to take an emergency pill, take it. And then all day I kind of didn't feel anxious. I was anticipating feeling anxious. I think that's my thing that I have to hurdle next, is that I anticipate myself feeling anxious. I anticipate myself having a panic attack. I anticipate myself being in a situation where I don't feel comfortable, where I feel super anxious. And that's kind of what I have to break through now, because I felt that way all day. I was anticipating feeling anxious, but I went and we went in the car, and the whole way I was having moments of like almost anxiety. Like it was kind of building, like if you imagine anxiety building up from your feet to your head, it was like hitting right here, and then I would push it down. And it wasn't pushing it down like acting like it's not there. I would just tell myself I'm fine. Like this is not even anxiety. I'm not actually feeling anxious. I'm just telling myself I feel anxious for no reason. And I think because of the medicine and my mind working together, it worked. You know, in the car ride, like I said, I felt a little bit like a little warm, like a little like nervous sweat, but not to the point of like full on anxious. Not to the point where I ever reached for my bag to get my pills out. Nothing like that. And I went and I played with my nieces, and we opened presents, and it was great. And I was so proud of myself. The whole ride home, I was so proud of myself. I couldn't stop smiling to myself, saying, this is something that would make me so anxious just a few months ago, but thanks to medication, I went and I didn't need to take a pill for feeling super anxious. I have my stable regime of medication, and I feel so much better. And then this might sound stupid for some of you, but I haven't helped shovel the driveway when it snowed in years, because every time I put on a lot of layers, even when it's cold outside, and do anything that exerts energy, I feel really anxious, like I'm gonna pass out or something. And I was sick about, like, just the week after Christmas, like right around New Year's time, I was very sick. So was my mom, my dad. We all kind of got like a cold or flu or something. And even though I was sick, I was just recovering. I got my new boots that I got for Christmas, my snow boots. I got my jacket, I got my scarf, my hat, and I went out and I shoveled half the driveway. And just doing that without taking an emergency pill, without feeling, you know, I felt numb and like sweaty and cold because it was freaking freezing out, but without feeling actually anxious, just feeling normal feelings of hating shoveling. I was so proud of myself for doing that, and it felt really good. And every time I take those strides, it gives me more confidence in the fact that I'm growing and I'm doing better. And, you know, maybe one day I won't need medication, that's the plan, but for now I do, and for now it's helping me tremendously. Once I can get to a point where nothing makes me anxious except for, like, I don't know, a date, maybe I won't need medication, but right now I do. Right now I have a chemical imbalance. Right now I need the medication to help me take these small steps. And no, I haven't gone a lot of places by myself. I haven't driven far by myself. I haven't hung out with friends I've missed and I haven't seen in a long time, but I'm planning to. I'm planning to take those steps. I just have to take smaller steps to get there. And to my friends who understand that, my family that understands that, thank you. I have family and friends who know that I have trouble driving, that I have trouble going places by myself, so they come to me because they want to hang out. They work around their schedule and they put extra effort in to hang out with me, and it makes you feel so good that you have people that care about you that much. I appreciate your friendship so much. So right now, at the point I am right now, I don't know when this video is going up, but today is January 19th, and I feel like I'm happy. And I'm still frustrated and have moments where I wish I wasn't concerned with anxiety, but the fact that I don't worry about it 24/7, that I feel better, that I know I can go somewhere and be okay, is a really big deal for me. It's really nice to know that people believe you. I wasn't going to tell you exactly what medicine I take, but I think maybe I should. So the medicine I take every single day, I take 30 milligrams of citalopram, which is the generic for Celexa, which you can look up and stuff and ask your doctor. Obviously, don't try to take any things without a prescription, guys, seriously. But I take 1.5 tablets because I only make them by 20 milligrams, so I do have to break them in half, which is really no big deal. They're really small pills, and they definitely help me. I've noticed a difference probably within the 20 milligrams I was first prescribed of this, and it made a difference, but when I went up to 30 milligrams, it made a huge difference. I probably noticed in 2 weeks of taking 30 milligrams what a big difference it made. And I take that at night because it is kind of like a downer, like it's supposed to stop your anxiety. It's been amazing for me. The only side effect that I've had no bad side effects except having really, really, really intense dreams, to the point where I wake up in the morning and think that they actually happened, and they're not scary, and they're not, you know, fake and like monsters and ghosts. It's more, this could have actually happened, and I wake up thinking it actually happened. So it's very bizarre, and they're very, like, I can remember every single detail. It's like I wrote an entire story in my sleep. It's very, very bizarre. And I get that probably 5 out of 7 nights a week. And it's weird, but it's not something to write home about. It's not like a big deal. I have told my therapist about it, and it's not messing with me. This hasn't cause any side effects that would make me not want to take it. And then my other pill that I haven't taken in so long is called clonazepam, which is a generic for Klonopin, and I only have 0.5 milligrams of that, and I only take half of a pill. If I do take it, that's my emergency pill that I keep in my bag with me for if I ever had a panic attack or feeling super, super anxious, and it works very well. I was taking Xanax for a while that I had a prescription for, but that I would also take only half of the pill of, but it kicked in a lot faster than this one. So Xanax, I find that if you're like about to go on stage or something and you're anxious, Xanax would probably help you. But this one, Klonopin, I find that it takes a little longer to kick in. Like if I'm really freaking out, I'll take it, and like knowing that I took it makes me feel better, but the real anxiety feelings will go away for about 20 to 30, 40 minutes, I guess, depending on how much I ate that day. It takes longer to kick in, but it lasts longer throughout the day, and neither one of this or Xanax made me feel groggy or sleepy or gave me any kind of bad side effects. I just wanted to throw that out there. Those are the 2 medications that have really been helping me, and just having the Klonopin in my bag is like a security blanket, and I think that's something that's really been helping me too. My therapist agrees. It's very common because I haven't had to take it, but it's always in my bag with me. It kind of just makes you feel like in case something happens. And I think once I get to the point where I don't take it with me and it's not with me all the time and I just leave it at home, I think that's when I'll be like, I've reached a point where I'm so happy. So right now, obviously, like I said, I still have the security blanket and like those extra anticipatory moments, but I'm doing so much better, and I'm just feeling so much better, and I just don't know how much advice I can give, but if you're struggling with anxiety, just know that your feelings are valid. There's so many people in the world who don't get it, who don't suffer with anxiety or mental health disorders, and it's not fair to have to put up with it, but it's something we have to put up with until everyone can learn. Ignore anyone who tells you just get over it, you're being lazy, like you just don't want to go, and that's why you're saying this, or you can do this all day but you can't come hang out with us. Like, anyone who says things like that is not worth having in your life. Anyone who judges you for having anxiety or being depressed or anything, or just tells you it's not real and that you're making it up, they're not worth having in your life. And if it's family and you need to have them, just know they're not educated enough to get it. They haven't experienced it, and they clearly don't want to sympathize or empathize with you in any way. I'm here to tell you your feelings are valid. If you feel anxious, if you feel nervous, if you feel depressed, your feelings are valid. And I know I'm not a healthcare professional, but I've been there and I've felt it, and it's a horrible, horrible feeling to feel that anxious and feeling like it's destroying your life, and that it's something you can't control, and it's not always something you can control. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can power through, and you can do breathing exercises and meditate and do regular exercise and eat better, and like there are things that can help, and there's things that people swear by, and there's things I swore by before I took medication. But when it gets to the point where it's really affecting your every single day life to do normal everyday errands and things, sometimes you can't control it. They invented these medications specifically for those reasons, and they make a difference, and they've helped me tremendously. And not a crutch, and they're not something that I rely on to live, but they're something that helps me and has helped me in the last few months have a better life and have a more full life and just do normal everyday things. Like, I'm not even getting near the things that aren't normal and everyday for me, but just to do normal everyday things that everyone else does, that people complain about doing, like going to the grocery store. The fact that I can just do those things now thanks to these medications and thanks to my amazing therapist, it means a lot. And honestly, if you found a therapist and they're not right for you, if they don't listen, if they try to tell you that they're right and you're wrong, or instead of suggesting things to you, they tell you things, try to find a different one. Ask if they can recommend someone else to you. Look under your healthcare plan and look at every single psychologist or therapist or anything in your plan. You can even just ask your primary care doctor, say, I'm struggling with anxiety, do you have anyone to recommend? Because it's worth it to find the right person. I've dealt with the wrong person multiple times. Just take your time, and I know it's hard, and that struggle is intense. And that time was really frustrating for me because I was dealing with anxiety, and going to a new doctor or something, going to a doctor for me is something that causes anxiety. So going to a bunch of different doctors and trying to share all this information about my anxiety and then finding out this person isn't the right one for me is frustrating. It really, really is. It's like dating but for doctors, and you're paying for it. But it is frustrating, but once you find the right person, oh my god, does it feel good when you click with someone and you know they're listening to you and they acknowledge how you're feeling and they suggest things to you. Like, my doctor has suggested me a pill to help me gain weight, but she never pushes on me. She just says, oh, well, this is a suggestion, this is something I can help you with if you choose to take it, but let's sort your anxiety out first. We don't want to give me like a bunch of pills at once, so let's sort this out first, and then if you want to take that, you can take it. I probably am not going to take it just because I'm so weird about taking weird medications. Like, for someone like me to be taking a medicine every day for anxiety is a really big deal, a really big step. If you know me personally, I don't like taking Motrin. Like, I don't like taking things. Everything gives me side effects and it drives me crazy and I don't like it. But the fact that I'm taking these pills every day and trust them to work and know that they work, I'm happy to take them every day, says a lot for me. I'm just here to tell people, I guess anyone who doesn't believe that medication works or that mental illness is real, just go away, because you're wrong. And for anyone who has anxiety and is afraid of medication or doesn't think they need it or think they can control it, that's not always the case. So I guess that's pretty much it. This video is super long, but I hope that you enjoyed. I hope you felt related to, or just, wanted an update, I don't know. But if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and check out my other ones. Also, there's my blog post below I wrote last year, 2 years ago, about anxiety. I hope you subscribe to see more from me, whether it's about this or more upbeat things. Thank you so much for everyone who cares and asks me, and when I write something on Twitter who says I'm really proud of you for doing that. Like, I really appreciate you guys and that you care. And yeah, thank you again, and I'll see you next time.